Good morning, this is Mona and this is my morning view. Today, spring edition 2025. It is Memory Monday. Weather, overcast, rainy-ish. Don't know if it's going to continue to rain or whether it just rained for the night and you know, it'll be fine. Hoping for it to be fine for at least during recess. Outdoor recess is a wonderful thing. All right, so from there, I didn't turn on that light. Squirrel moment. Hoping to get through this without too much massive noise. The road worker people are here. They have their little backup beepers. There's some noise going on. So hopefully I can get through this. Memory Monday. I had something on my mind. I have something on my mind to speak to you about. Came up over the weekend. But then I was like this morning, I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to work on this other thing, right? Because I was typing up the stuff and I'm listening to the irritating noise and all of that. And I was thinking about how I talk to people, how I speak to people about different things. And so the idea of talking about my old videos, as I'm posting my old videos, some of the language that I use, right? So I'm back and forth on this moment of, well, what do I share right now? Okay. And right now, since I have these two thoughts in my head and I'm on live, I can't just write down the other one like, oh, you know, because the other one is written down. Just like 3 words. 3 words are written down. It has to do with hot spots. Dog with hot spots. So 4 words. And that would be a good Memory Monday. But also this one about my old videos going to be put here. And so I'm like, oh, which one should I do? You know what? I think I'm going to go with the hot spots and hopefully remember the other one until I end this and I can write it down so that I can maybe do that on Tips Tuesday. Again, I'm not going to go around and processing it through my brain because, yeah, I just don't have time for that. I'm not a good multitasker. I can't be thinking about something and listening to something else, thinking about something and doing something else. The only time I get that processing time is when I'm doing laundry or washing dishes, because those are like soothing therapy times, and sometimes I can meditate. But would I rather meditate on the Lord, or would I rather meditate what's swirling around in my brain, right? My morning view is what's swirling around in my brain, but there's always something there that can be used in a spiritual context, into a biblical context, into something that the Lord may be saying. Because stuff that happens in the natural reflect what is happening in the spiritual. And so that's where I'm at. So right now I'm going to talk about my dog Erica. That is not Erica. That is the star of the show, Drina. Okay, so you all know why I'm out here is for the dog. Trying to multitask, and as you can see, I do not multitask well. Have lots of squirrel moments, and every time I bend over to pick up her broken toy or her new toy, which she never gives me, what happens is I get a lack of blood flow to the brain and I forget what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, what was that? Now I got to go back into my head and think about what I was saying. So my dog Erica, we're talking the 1980s. German Shepherd. So we've had a German Shepherd before. We lived in Germany, got a German Shepherd. She would get what was called hot spots. The vet called her an atypical dog, meaning she's allergic to everything. It's like, well, lovely. She's allergic to everything. So since then, we have found out that Drina is like allergic to chicken. The cat food has chicken in it, and sometimes she'll be passing through the area and there'll be a rogue chicken cat food laying on the ground. It's not in her dish. She's not eating out of her dish. But she's like, hey, it's on the ground. It's in my path. It's game. And she'll take a little nibble of that. And the next thing you know, she's just itchy all over. So she has allergies. But what Drina doesn't have is hot spots. Thank God. She just has this all over allergic reaction, mainly with her ears and her skin just being dry. And so she scratches, bites. The difference is the hot spots. Now, hot spots could be caused by allergens, like Drina has allergens. Drina also has some anxieties. We've noticed she has some anxieties. My husband has been finding there's a lot of German Shepherds with anxiety issues. And it's like, but with anxiety can also cause irritation. So they start biting on themselves, scratching themselves, you know, from anxiety. So you have this external thing of like flea bites. And so that's irritant. It's just like if we got a flea bite, we'd scratch at it. If we got a mosquito bite, we would scratch at it. If we got a spider bite, we would scratch at it. That's an external thing that caused an internal reaction. It has to do with histamines in your system coming to the rescue to bandage the issue, but then that causes, you know, the itching, all this other stuff. It causes a reaction within your body. Now, that's a little bit of science to it. When you eat something that is unsettling to your body, when you have an allergy to it. Now, I have sensitivities, things like gluten sensitivity. If I eat gluten, there's times when my muscles hurt, inflammation occurs. Inflammation causes pain in the muscles and joints. It causes involuntary muscle movements, and depending on what else is going on, it could have, you know, if there was other factors within that product that I ate, it could be severe muscle movements, or they could be just minor muscle movements. So I have sensitivities, but I don't have allergies to it. Now, so allergies can show up in different ways. You can get anaphylactic shock, not good. You can get the skin irritation. You can get rash. You can get just any number of things. You stop breathing. You know, it tightens up your breathing and your throat apparatuses, you know. So there's different types of allergy reactions. But for the most part, allergies are internal. So we have pollen. So it's springtime. Spring 25, right? We're going to be having all this pollen. We're going to have dusty green dust on our cars, in our homes if you have your windows open, you know, on the ground. So pollen is going to be in the air. There are some people that are going to walk on by like there was nothing going on. They will not have a reaction to the pollen. There are other people that they will absolutely have a reaction going on. And so those people that are having a reaction, it is triggering something inside of them. It's something that's inside of them that is creating the problem. So when I'm talking about a dog with hot spots, there is an internal agitation that's going on. Could be caused from an outside source. Could be caused from something within. But usually the outside source is not what causes the hot spot. It just causes an irritation. The irritation is caused from how your body is reacting to the outside source. So, with that, what a dog will do is start to lick the area because it's a hot spot. They want to relieve it. It's kind of like when we were kids and we had chicken pox, and that scratch felt so good for a second. For a second, that was it. And then you had to do it again. Same thing with, mosquito bites and no-see-ums. See, I'm allergic to no-see-ums. And their season for mating is May, June. And so that's when they do their biting. And I started out with welts like this. Then they went to like a silver dollar size. Then they went to a half dollar size. Then they went to a quarter size, and to a nickel size. They're now down to dime size. So my body is starting to get accustomed to to my reaction to them. However, I mean, so you can tell how many years I've had to deal with these no-see-ums. I mean, it's craziness, and I itch. It itches so bad, so I gotta scratch it. And then, by scratching, I irritate my skin more and cause my skin to lose its first line of defense, right? So that's what a dog does, licking this hot spot. And after they've licked the hot spot to where their hair is now gone, they continue to lick the hot spot until the skin is gone. And then there's this open wound. And what happens with an open wound, it is subject to infection. Hot spots. Caused from an internal trigger to a outside source. I'm not talking about hot spots. So we're talking about how we react to when somebody or something has irritated us. And so when we react, our defenses that are inside of us start to react in a way of, I have to relieve this pain. So I'm going to lick this spot in order to relieve the pain. And thereby exposing it into an open wound. We create more problems for ourselves licking our hot spots. We take things that people have said or done, and we take them personally. And when we take them personally, what happens is it brews up this agitation. And a lot of times things get blown way out of proportion. Way out of proportion. And as we lick this wound, we make it worse. Now, a dog does not have self-control. We can call them by name and say, hey, stop. Stop licking, stop scratching. And they will for a little bit, and then they go back to it, especially at night when you're not there to tell them to stop it. I know sometimes things trigger at night that may not trigger during the day with things. Things like fevers. Fevers, have you ever noticed fevers will spike at night? So it could be that the dog is experiencing more agitation in the nighttime hours, or it could be that we're not telling the dog to stop itching, stop licking, stop making the noise. What do we do when we have hot spots? What do we do when we have agitation? Not physical agitation. We're talking about mental agitation, spiritual agitation, agitation that affects our soul. When our soul or our spirit are being agitated, what do? Do we create an open wound because we want to pacify this agitation? Somehow, with this open wound, we may get more attention. I'm the victim here. Do you see what you caused? Do you see the pain that you caused? Because it was always the outside agitation. It's their fault. But it's not. Because as human beings, we have more self-control than a dog. We have more self-control than that. We are created higher than the animals because, and now people go, oh, you're such an elitist. You're talking about you were created higher than the animals. Yes, we were, because we were created in God's image. We were to have dominion. That doesn't mean that we treat animals badly. You're supposed to have self-control. You're supposed to have good stewardship tactics in your dealing with your dominion over animals. But yes, you are higher than an animal because you are created in His image. And therefore, in God's image, not the animals, in God's image. And because you are created in His image, you have the ability to have self-control. Stewardship over your faculties. I know it's really hard not to scratch that itch. I know. Every year, those no-see-ums get me. Every year. The first year I got it, it felt like burning from hell. Itching. It was itchy and burning, and it was horrible. Like I said, it's gotten less and less through the years because my body is starting to get used to, okay, no-see-ums are coming and it's going to be itchy, so, you don't have to be as anxious about it. You don't have to be aggravated as much about it. This is my physical body talking to my physical, histamines and such. The noise is real. I don't know if you guys hear the noise, but I hear the noise. And it's a little bit distracting. So when we're talking about hot spots for humans, we can take control of that situation. We don't have to let the aggravation get to us to where the REEL is rolling around in our head. And we try to pacify that agitation by licking our wounds. Wounds that are not there, by the way. Wounds, you're licking on a spot and you create the wound. You create the wound. The wound was created by you because you reacted to an agitation. And we don't have to do that. Because we have self-control. And that's all I got for Monday, for Memory Monday. The memory of my dog, not that dog, Erica, my first German Shepherd, having hot spots. Horrible, horrible hot spots. Creating open wounds on her body. I see this in action daily in humans. I see this in action all over. You only have to open up your eyes and open up your ears and hear what's going on around you to know that this is what's happening with a lot of people. It happened to me. If I can't relate to it here, if I can't relate to it from maybe something in my past or something in my present or even something in my future, if I can't relate to it, I'm not going to talk to you about it here. Because why? Because we cannot give away what we don't have. I've experienced both the emotional agitation of outside work experience abuse and the physical agitation of the no-see-ums that get me every single year, but have been less and less because of the practice of not letting agitation get to me. Do I do it perfectly? No. I still get no-see-um bites about the size of a dime versus the welts I used to get, okay? Do I still get agitated when people do things? Of course I do. I'm human. But I choose how I'm going to respond to those things. And I always take all those thoughts to the throne room. I don't always. Didn't last week. Didn't get any sleep one night. 2 nights actually. 2 different situations. One I think was encouraged by coffee, having coffee late. But it's just the idea that, you know, I'm not perfect at it. And I don't think anybody is. There will be people that will go out and put on a good face to say, I'm going through this stuff, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to let people know that I'm hurting. I'm just going to go out and be as cheery as I can possibly be because I'm not going to ruin it for everybody else. So this is where I'm at. It's fine, and you can do that. But sometimes it gives this false precedence, this false that you're not hurting, when indeed you are. And then other people look at you going, oh, how do you stay in such a cheery mood? Oh, I just give it to the Lord. Liar. Why do we lie? Because we're trying to hide something. We're trying to hide shame. We're trying to hide. You're ashamed that you feel this way. So you mask it because you're like, oh, I don't want anybody to know I'm in pain. But to lick your wounds to the point of open sores, that is a self-gratification. That is looking to yourself way too much. It's not all about you. It really isn't. And it's when we focus inwardly and down and that we see nothing but ourselves. That's when we get into trouble. That's when we lick the wounds. That's when we open them up and leave them open for infection. Because the enemy is looking for an entryway. He's looking for an entryway just like the germs that cause infection. Just like the germs that cause sickness. He's looking for an open entry. And if he can break down your first line of defense, then he will. He'll use that. He'll get that reel rolling in your head. And then you start listening to the real, R-E-E-L, versus the real, R-E-A-L. And the real, R-E-A-L, is God's truth. What is God saying? What is God doing? You have an agitation. What is behind it? All right. That's where I'm ending. Forgot to tell you again. Beginning, middle, and end. But you're getting it at the end. Go to my YouTube channel and hit subscribe. Hit notifications. Hit like. Comment. Get all the bells and whistles. Do all the stuff. If this content is something that you feel is worthy to share to a friend, to others, that you agree with the content that I'm saying, share to everybody by just sharing it on your page. Share the information to get that word out, because what happens is the algorithm, with more and more subscribers on YouTube, I get to be more than 3 minutes, because right now I am limited to 50 people. They started this in November. 50 people hit subscribe and I get longer than 3 minutes. But other than that, 3 minutes is all I get. I cannot express this content in the manner that I need to express it in 3 minutes. I can throw in a little nugget, but you won't have the basis of what it is that brought that content out. Okay? So, like, subscribe, notifications, comment, all of the good stuff. Okay? Do it here on Facebook. Go over to Mona E. Harrison. That's my YouTube channel. You'll see my white hair. Or possibly my hair with a hat on it. So, go there and support if you feel like this is worthy content. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for Tips Tuesday. And maybe Tips Tuesday, I'll do the one that I was thinking about when I turned this on, like a few seconds before I turned it on, and was thinking about the content that I'm going to be bringing over, and some of that content, we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. Blessings. Bye.